Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to be going over who I think you should True Awaken, just my opinions on who you should True Awaken really. And the reason I'm really doing this, I think I've done this video when True Awakening first came out, but not since then, which has been nearly 9 months. As well as they did say they're going to rework True Awakening. How I think that's going to work is they're just going to lower the prices and make it maybe more reasonable, because currently True Awakening a character is an investment. It's about half an SA6 character who is SSR, and it's nearly, well, it's just under half of a UR based character that is 1/6. But yeah, I'll be going over every race. I'll be talking about characters you should True Awaken and the reasons why, because I do feel like every character that can be True Awaken does have a reason why. I feel like there's none that are just good to True Awaken just to have them True Awaken. Of course, if you're a whale, you might True Awaken everyone, but yeah. First race is Demons. So Demons, there are quite a few. Some ones that are normally quite good to do with the LRs. Gallon's a little bit mediocre, so maybe you just ignore Gallon. Lost Vein, he's got good CC, like, don't get me wrong, but he's currently not meta, and he doesn't deal well with crit. He doesn't deal well with damage reduction at all. And do you know what the current meta has? Lots of damage reduction. You've got Albedo, of course, you've got lots of defense with characters like Boulder. You've got Nanashi's buffs. You've got, Victoria's crit resistance, crit defense buff. You've got humans with Arthur and Percival with lots and lots of defense, crit defense. Zeldris actually is surprisingly a very good one, because Zeldris can be used on Rat, which there aren't many characters that can really replace Demon King Melee, and Zeldris is actually one of them. So he was one that I would recommend if you don't have Demon King Melee, or you just want to try Zeldris on Rat. Zeldris is quite a good character. He's a little bit gimmicky and he's very squishy, but on Rat he's actually quite good. Of course, Demon King Melee, it's not it's not a hidden thing. Like, this guy is very good. True Awaken him, if he's like 1/6, 6/6, whatever, he's very good. Like, outfits wise, I've not bought a single outfit for him, and he's still quite good. His CC is quite good. Of course, having a 6/6, I would have better CC, but that's really it. Some other good ones, Demon King, once again, 50% damage cut is permanent. Kind of busted, having True Awakened, so maybe they struggle to do 50%. Game modes like Chaos, it would do quite well. Esterosa sort of needs True Awakening. He is so squishy. Even with HP defense, he's just like the squishiest character in the game. He's got like not the worst crit resistance and crit defense, but his resistance is horrible. 35% is like worse than, I think it's worse than every KOF character. It's absurd, even though he's a festival. But of course, at the time of his release, he was very broken, so it is sort of balanced at the time of his release. He does sort of need a little bit of an upgrade. Maybe he'll even get LR at some point. So I do feel like he sort of needs it. His stats are very mediocre, but he has a good passive. So maybe it'll be sort of like a Margaret LR, where the buff isn't really too beneficial. Well, it's not really too big, but it's still quite beneficial for the character stats-wise. That's really it. Maybe Traitor Melee for the new bird. Of course, if you are running the, Valentine's Day Diane, Magelda, Thor, and Traitor Melee team, you may actually want to True Awaken this man here. That'd be the only reason I really see you doing it. Or, of course, for Chaos Mode as well. And talking about Chaos Mode, Melascula isn't also too bad to do, just because, once again, if you're running, let's say, Melascula Demon King in Chaos Mode, which isn't possible because Melascula and Demon King both cost quite a bit, having her tankiness a little bit higher, just enabling her to tank a little bit better is kind of nice. It means you don't, they have to focus an extra turn or an extra skill onto Melascula, giving you more time, or even just the chance to pop off with your chosen Rat character of choice. On to Giants. So Giants, there's not really too many. Once again, the tank variants of Diane, so of course you've got Queen Diane, and then Valentine's Day Diane. Valentine's Day one I 100% recommend. Same with Queen Diane as well. They're both very good. Of course, if you don't have one and you have the other, I 100% True Awaken the other one, because they're both quite good at tanking. At the time, they were like insane. Like, of course, they came out before Red Tomil, which was kind of a bad thing for Diane because she got kind of screwed over in the meta. But yeah, she's quite good. Ragnarok Diane, it's okay. Of course, if you want a Ragnarok team, and that'd probably be in like Chaos Mode or Hero Arena, the only real two I'd see you using her in. And of course, you also got this red Skadi here. Sorry, this blue Skadi, who is decently new. She's also on the SR tickets as well, but she's actually quite good. Her passive, is actually quite good because it works everywhere, and it sort of also works in Rat as well. She's actually on quite a good Rat team. which I'd recommend using if you do have her, because she increases allies' basic stats up to 20%. There is no catch on that, it's just per ally, I'm pretty sure. It doesn't actually say how, but she's very good. I don't highly recommend True Awakening her. Of course, if you want to use her for Rat, she's quite good. On to humans. So humans, it's a little bit of like a toss in the air, because it's like, there's so many good humans that you could argue deserve True Awakening. That is kind of weird. I've only True Awakened a few, like Lilia, LR Lilia, once again, quite good. She is currently, she's on meta teams with Arthur currently. There's like 2 humans teams you see, one with Nalfmi, Arthur, Escanor, and the other one's Lilia, Arthur, Escanor. You see those teams quite a bit. So Lilia's actually quite good. She's got a quite good tank to her. She's got a nice amount of CC, and once again, she might be usable in Chaos mode when that comes out. LR Lilia has not been available in a Chaos mode because she didn't have an LR variant the last time we had Chaos mode, so we don't know what her points are going to look like. This Valenti, once again, she's for the Rat, so it's 100% worth doing. She can be used in actually any demonic beast, but I would say it's probably worth it just for Rat alone. Rat does a lot of damage, and it doesn't matter what your box CC is, what your constellation is. Having a True Awaken for Rat is always going to be a big plus. Escanor and Arthur, I don't really have to explain why. Arthur's an insane tank, so of course the more damage reduction he has, the better. And Escanor, Broken Festival, once again, has a turn 1 damage cap as well, so it's always nice to have a little bit extra damage reduction on there just to sort of prevent them from killing you turn 1. Bon, I True Awakened Bon near the release of True Awakening. That was before, of course, Chaos Arthur and Escanor to release it, but I still say it's quite a good one to True Awaken. He is quite squishy, which is his only problem. He's got very low health in comparison to like every other festival release at the time. He had very low health. Apart from that, like, he's worth True Awakening. He's good. His attack low is quite good. He can actually counter Boulder quite well if you get the I forgot what it's called. His debuff, what's his debuff called? Mark of Concentration, that's what it's called. If you can apply that on Boulder, he can't crit. And then he can't win, because Boulder does sort of need the crit, unfortunately. Nalfmi, I don't really have to explain it. Absurdly broken tank, very good for the human team. And unfortunately, because stances are coming back into meta, we're definitely going to have a shake-up character who's going to just remove stances from the meta. My thought is it's probably going to be a human that will be coming with the next collab, or a demon or someone like that, so sort of fits into a ready-made team sort of thing. Demons, it's sort of a weird team because everyone's fighting for a position on the demon team. Same with humans as well, but I feel like humans, you could technically say Arthur, Escanor, and Percival, the only 3 that really have a secure position. Lilia and Nalfmi could technically be changed out, and I could technically see, let's say it's Eminence and Shadow, they release a Shadow's completely busted or whatever, and you can remove stances passively. Boom, you've now got your 3rd character. And stance removal is actually not really a problem on that team anyway, because humans don't have any stances. Well, Arthur doesn't, and he's going to be actually your main tank. He's sort of designed to be the tank. Some honorable mentions: the Roxys, once again CC, Chaos mode. Percival, once again, broken back unit. You want a little bit extra CC. You want him to tank a little bit better, especially if you run him up the front as well. And of course, Yuri as well, who's quite a good support character for just humans. Just turn 1 stance removal, she gives you 30% crit resistance, crit defense, you got the 15% basic stats, 5% per human, and you got the damage lower of like 30% plus the AoE seal when you reach max debuffs. Okay, now on to Fairies. So Fairies is a little bit of a weird one. Glocks is pretty standard Y, used for Rat, but not only that, it's quite irritating to deal with in Chaos mode, but mainly I would upgrade him for Rat. I would use the True Awakening for Rat mainly. Mine has a lot of CC, and it's actually one of my highest CC characters I own. I think he's maybe 2nd. I think Thor is my highest by like maybe a few hundred. Once again, Jelly King, 100%. Once again, if you don't have, or if you're not using the Valenti variant of the Rat team, this King will be very good, and he's good to have True Awakened anyway because of like Chaos mode. Once again, his team is absurdly broken. This New Year King, once again, quite good. I don't think he was meta for a tiny little while. He had a small window of meta, but that wasn't that long, mainly because we had leaks at the time still, so of course we knew sort of what was coming up, and we had a collab coming up, so not really many people summoned, but he's okay, he's quite good. True Awakening, maybe he's worth it for Chaos mode. I don't really see him much in it, but I feel like he could put out quite a bit of damage. He has sort of like a stat boost for Sins, as well as the shield. You know, he's got his Relic, which once again increases damage dealt from the heroes, as well as basic stats. He's also got a deplete old gauge skill, and it's the good deplete old gauge skill, which is becoming a little bit more common nowadays, which is kind of nice. It's taken already like 4 or 5 years, and he's got a pierce AoE. He's still with the normal King ult as well. He's quite a good character. And of course, last but not least, Elaine. Like, this green Elaine is busted. I don't have her, but she's very good, and I'd highly recommend True Awakening her. Mainly, once again, for Chaos Mode, but maybe for Hero Arena as well. I'm not sure if she's even used for Hero Arena. I've never been able to use fairies. And of course, you got this King as well. But this King is sort of like, I True Awakened him at the time, because he was one of the best fairies in the game at the time. And I used him for... What game mode? I think I used him for... I forgot it's called Demon King. I think I used him for Demon King at the time. And for like Hero Arena, but now I don't use him for Hero Arena or Demon King, so he just sort of sits in my box True Awaken. But anyway, he might be good for Chaos Mode. Don't know. Okay, Goddesses. Now, Goddesses is kind of a weird one. Once again, LR Liz should be your 100% first priority. LR Liz is... Not only has she been used in PvP as a back unit because of her relic, but she's just a broken PvE character. Even though nowadays, mobile's sort of clocked on how good Liz is, and they're sort of nerfing Liz by making it like, oh, if the enemy... if like your team gains ult gauge through a skill, or through like an ultimate, or like a passive or whatever, it gains like 500 on basic stats. Sort of like the brand new bird. It's stupid. And auto rank up once again to counter Demon King melee. But I just feel like she's a very good character to have True Awaken. Not only is she used for Rat, she can basically be used for any demonic beast, apart from, I would argue, the Transcendent Bird as well as Deer. I feel like if you have her on Deer, you sort of lose out on a skill, which isn't the best. Yes, technically you could use Albedo, and technically you lose out on a skill, but Albedo's counter is absurdly broken, and I would say is far more valuable than her other skill. Margaret is quite a good shout. Once again, she's used for Goddess team. Technically, she can be used as a replacement if you don't have Red Margaret for Nidhogg, so she's maybe just a nice one to have True Awaken just for that. Once again, PvP. Goddesses aren't really that used much in PvP, but once again, it only takes one character for a meta to completely shift. So, you know, it is on the table. Mael's very good as well. Mael is only very good because of, once again, his relic's absurdly broken. So once again, Chaos Mode, he'll be very good. You got Hero Arena, he'll be very good because of his relic as well. I would say he only really wants True Awakening if you have his relic, because his relic, with and without a relic, are two completely different characters. His relic gives him 60% damage increase and 30% attack related stats. Bear in mind, this man used to struggle to crit. 30% attack related stats isn't that much. It takes to about 155% crit chance, which is like okay. Like a melee, Demon King melee is I think close to 140 base, which is absurd, but it's quite good for Mael. It means he can crit quite a bit, which is definitely an improvement from what his previous. Like he just barely could crit normally, even with a spike skill, he was barely critting. But yeah, Mael's quite a good one. Of course, you've got the standard ones like Queen Liz, and like I guess Ludo if you really want to out CC people in Chaos Mode. But that's really it. Like Liz is okay, but I feel like Liz is a little bit. She's only really useful in PvP. I've not really seen any other uses for her. She's not good for farming. She's not really used on Demonic Beast. Technically, she can be used on Nidhogg because she has stance removal, but I don't think it's really that impactful enough that you'd actually use her over LR Liz, who has insane healing, buff removal, you know, an absurd ultimate that gives you an attack-related stat boost. Yeah, it's just not worth it. But Liz is, once again, another candidate that you could technically do. And on to Unknown, which is probably the hardest one, because Unknown has a lot of very good characters, and mainly because like collabs that sort of bring in these new characters that are like absurdly broken, and they're normally quite heavily future-proofed, even just a little bit, so they can sort of withstand the time of extreme changing metas, mainly by CC. Like Fitoria and Glass still out CC every non-festival and LR in the game. Like technically the second closest I think is Bolter, but like he out CCs every other character that's not a festival or an LR in the game, which is absurd. And when it comes to True Awakening, of course, Nanashi, he's on every Unknown team. It's just worth it. Technically, he can be used on any team because his passive isn't really that selective. His passive and some of his relic isn't that selective. It's only the basic stat part that is. So it's kind of good just have True Awaken for the CC. He's actually the only character I actually have upgraded. I have his relic upgraded. It's the only one I have. Mainly because the whole game mode is horrible. I hate it. I won't do a whole video talking about why I absolutely hate it, because I'm just not farming it. Until they make it easier, I'm not. Or until they release a character that either makes it extremely easy, or they nerf it to some degree, I'm not farming it. It's just a pain in the ass. Thor, once again, it's kind of obvious. Thor, like these two here, it's kind of obvious why. Same with Gelder. Glass, I sort of did. Glass from Fatora is also kind of standard why. She's a very like meta-breaking character. She's good on her release. She was good. She's good for PvE in some places. And of course, like Glass, I did mainly for the videos. The fact that she was True Awaken means she could tank a little bit better. Means the showcases have been just a tiny bit better. Albedo, once again, pretty standard. I think every one of these is pretty standard apart from Glass, and that's because I did it mainly for the content at the time. Of course, you got like characters like you could do that I would actually recommend, which is Hell and Tyr. Tyr, of course, because he wants to tank, but he also wants to have lower HP, so you sort of want him to take damage, but you don't want to take too much to a point where he dies. And Hell, once again, sort of the same thing. You want it to tank, you want them to attack, not into her, but just into your team, and once again, because of that, she wants to tank, but she also has her revive, which, once again, now with her relic, she gets, like, the heal, which is kind of nice. That's really it. Maybe you go for, like, one of these two as well, because they have, like, the passive Taunt. Maybe you go Merlin for CC on Sin's team, which I see quite a bit. But that's really it. None of the other unknowns really need it. Boulder, of course, you have Boulder, you might as well just do him as well. He's quite good. Unfortunately, from what I've seen with my friends using him, my friend, of course, bought a few outfits for him as well. He's very on and off. His damage can be sometimes quite good, but his damage can also be quite bad. He struggles against humans, and humans does quite well against unknowns anyway, and humans are quite powerful. You've got Escanor, you've got Arthur. You could technically tack Northme on there, Lilia for another infect. It's kind of broken, and I feel like that's going to be the slight problem. I do feel like this collab may have a few unknowns and a few humans to sort of mash up the meta, and I do think Boulder is sort of one of those characters that he's good, but I feel like if you were to look at the team, you got Sab, you've got Thor, you got Boulder, and you got Nanashi. I feel like Boulder's the only one that you could technically replace, as his gimmick is he has to counter to deal the damage. If he doesn't counter, his whole passive as a whole, apart from the defense-related stat boost, is completely useless. Which technically you could say that the defense-related stat boost is quite crucial, because you've got characters like Percival, who basically only provide a defense-related stat boost, but humans are quite a glass cannon team, so that was sort of needed. But Unknowns already had this insane tankiness to them. You've got the damage reduction buff from Thor, you've got, the Nanashi basic stats, and the Nanashi buffs. It's sort of a very tanky team as it is. I feel like Boulder he does sort of fit that team, but I feel like he could definitely have a replacement quite easily. I think that's really it. There's not many other characters I'd recommend. Let me go all the way down to the bottom of my box and see what characters I don't have that I'd recommend. Of course, I already spoke about this Elaine, this Boulder, of course, Scotty as well. There's not really many others like that I would recommend True Awakening, because True Awakening is such a big investment. If you're a new player, you're probably going to True Awaken the key most meta characters, and that's like, and the most safest ones to do are like Thor, Arthur, Melee, Escanor. Like those are like my 4 ones. I would say like they're the key characters if you want to play meta, of course, in PvP. If you want to go like PvE, you'd go like Liz, because Liz is absurd. I think Liz is probably one of the safest LRs to do just in general, because you can use her on the back line of a humans team, and you can use her in PvE, which is absurd. But anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you next one. Goodbye.